When someone can't afford the rent, will you rent them the cars so they can sleep in?
Charles, I'll tell you, we have a problem here in New Brunswick. We have low inventory, and when we have low inventory, that is what the problem is, and we have to address that. Affordable housing. I'm working closely with my colleague, Minister Fitch. We have to find a solution to a very serious problem here in the province of New Brunswick. But I do know, overall, New Brunswick has, here I am chewing on gum.
That's all right.
Not very ladylike.
And there's no editing here, so that's good. Take your time. No, ladylike. It's better than cigarette.
Dear.
So go ahead.
Yes, indeed. So we have, overall, the lowest rent in Atlantic Canada. We have the second lowest rent in Canada, second only to Quebec.
What's the difference between Nova Scotia and here?
I don't know the numbers. I can get them for you, I'm sure, right? So, again, low inventory is the problem.
What does that mean?
That means that there's not enough empty apartments for people to move to. So we need to encourage the private sector to build.
So having people from Toronto to buy buildings here,
yes,
and then jack up the rent like they do in Toronto. Have you heard a lot of that?
Those are these isolated situations that are happening right now. So what we're doing, we have open active files right now for some local residents here in the province of New Brunswick. With, under my department, the residential tribunal, residential tenancies tribunal, right? So they're like a liaison, which is a free service. Not all provinces offer this.
And how long is that going to take for the procedure to go?
I'd have to talk with my colleagues, I guess, to find out what the normal procedure is. But if they can intervene and help solve a problem, as long as the landlords aren't breaking the rules, we're good. You know, we have situations where if you have a month-to-month lease, you get 30 days notice. If you have a 1-year lease, you have 3 months notice. So if the landlord isn't providing the proper notice, then they can't do that.
But there should be a point of concern during this crisis.
Yes.
That they just jack up the rent just like that. Have you heard many cases?
Again, isolated cases, and we do want to hear from them. There are 2 individuals in an apartment building here in the Lincoln area, which is in my riding, and we are concerned about them. And we've reached out to them and also asked them to have their neighbors contact us as well. Okay.
For what?
To see if we can help in some way, shape, or form, and make sure that the new owner of that building is following all the rules, which I believe they are, but I have to leave that to the tribunal to make sure that everything's being done properly.
If they sell, if they sell, have a building, they sell, do they have to go by the rules? I mean, these are rules by the old landlord.
Well, the rules are the same for all. The rules are the same for all. Right?
So if it's a 1-year lease?
The problem is, I can guarantee you, the provinces that have put in some form of rent control, PEI is one of the strictest rent controls in the country. Along with, I believe it's BC, Manitoba, Ontario, Nova Scotia. It's interesting because I have an article dated, I think, October 29th, where the Premier said, no, we are not going to implement rent controls because we know they don't work. But somehow, for some reason, he changed his mind and implemented this 2% cap on rent. Well, already we're hearing that business owners in Ontario are putting the brakes on capital spending, making changes. They can't do it or won't do it because now rent controls are in. Now, on average, from what I can see, 99% of the landlords here in New Brunswick are reasonable. You know, I've spoken to many. Increases, actually I have a 2:30 call with one of those big landlords that I want to speak to, and they're being very fair. Less than 2% increases for this year, which is normal, right? Another landlord here in the area that owns 1,400 units in the province of New Brunswick. Normally in May, they sit down, figure out how much the increase is going to be for August 1st. They decided this year, even though water bills have gone up, property taxes have gone up, the insurance industry has been very hard on apartment building owners right now. Everything's going up. They decided that they were not going to increase rent at all this year. So some aren't increasing at all. Some are 2%, which is an average, or even 1.7, 1.8%. But we have these isolated cases that are hitting the front page of the paper. Our Premier's office got a call 2 days ago from a distraught senior in Moncton. She was crying and upset. I can't handle my rent going up 50%. So our tribunal people, our team, the Residential Tenancy Tribunal, reached out to her.
Who's a member of that team? Who's on that
Well,
team?
it's staff. It's Service New Brunswick staff,
Okay.
right? So that tribunal falls under my department.
Okay.
They reached out to her to find out, you know, what happened. Her rent's not going up at all.
There's
But
always 20 sides to every story.
yeah, her rent's not going up, but she saw it in the paper about how rents are going up 50%, and she was just, because that's all you see in the news right now. These are indeed isolated cases, and certainly the concern for those individuals is very strong for us. But we do know at the same time that the inventory, the low inventory, is the problem, and that rent controls do not help. They actually make it worse, because the quality of the housing will go down. Business owners have to stop investing in upgrading their places. Actually, this apartment building in my riding, they haven't increased the rent for 7 years, and one of the tenants said in the paper how, you know, even the carpets haven't been upgraded. So therein lies part of the problem. You know, if you're going to invest in your apartment building to upgrade it, the rents aren't going to go down.
I gotta go see a doctor because
Yes.
I'm letting you talk. That's good. I
Yes.
just hijacked you. Don't
Oh,
you
that's
like,
okay. You
don't
can
you
hijack
like,
me
Don't you like
anytime.
these hijacking?
I do. It's so cool.
I saw you come in there.
I've
Okay.
been kind of feeling left out,
Yeah,
Charles.
it's all right. It's all right. I've been leaving everybody alone. No, but okay. The final word.
Okay.
People like me that's calling
Yes.
Blaine Higgs, Marie Antoinette, and David Kuhn all upset about what's going on. What do you tell me, and what do you tell David Kuhn about the rent control?
Same thing. I had an interview with the political panel 2 days ago. They only played part of it yesterday morning. I'm hoping they'll
That's political
play the
panel,
rest of
CBC?
it. Yes, yeah, exactly. So there was David Kuhn and Chris Austin and Robert Gauvin. And what's strange, I didn't have a chance to say it, but Robert Gauvin was there on behalf of the Liberals. Of course, he was with
Funny.
us up until very recently.
Yeah, funny.
And here he is talking about how this is a great idea for rent control. Yet, in 2018, the Greens submitted a bill on the same thing, and the Liberals shot it down. And I didn't want to do that.
Don't
All
get
of
me
a
going.
sudden, because we're saying no to rent control, they think it's a great idea. So what happened? Isn't that rich?
So bottom line, if anybody has a problem, their rent is going up,
Yes.
to call you.
Yes, please.
What's your email?
Well, actually, it's easy, mary.wilson@gnb.ca.